Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to Into the 99. I'm your hostess, Lotus, for another episode of Brewing It Live, where we brew a commander deck from scratch with help from chat. And today, as always, I have Han.
Hey everybody, how are you?
Hello. And
Happy Easter.
happy Easter or happy spring solstice, I believe it is. And because we are still going through the Strixhaven spoilers, and we still don't know the deck lists for these commander decks, we thought we'd go through the cycle and go on to the next one, which would be
Yeah?
Willowdusk, the Essence Seer. A 1 black green for a legendary creature Dryad Druid 3/3 with pay 1 and tap. Choose another target creature. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of life you gained this turn or the amount of life you lost this turn, whichever is greater. Activate only as a sorcery. I'm not keen on the
Yeah,
activate as a sorcery though, I'll be honest.
I mean we can't really do much with that. That's just inherent built into the commander. However, I mean, right off the bat, what if we could just do it multiple times instead of feeling like you have to be pigeonholed into doing it once?
I mean, Sakashima's not in our colours.
No, not at all. We don't need Sakashima.
Okay, where's your thought
We
process?
could, I mean, we could do any of the untapping things, such as Staff of Domination. We
Start.
have Umbral Mantle. We can simply just untap it with any number of creatures that say, hey, let's go ahead and untap this thing.
Okay, Star for Domination, 3 generic, pay 1, untap Star for Domination, 2 and tap, gain life, 3 and tap, untap target creature, 4 and tap target creature, or 5 and tap, draw a card. That one's pretty good.
Yep.
And what did you say?
So
Umbra
Staff of
Mantle.
Domination is an easy. Umbral Mantle, yeah. Umbral Mantle is also another artifact that will essentially let us untap.
Yeah. Quick creature has 3 and generic, untap this creature.
Yep, and it equips for 0. So the additional benefit of this card, it doesn't necessarily have to go on our commander. Umbral Mantle can go on to any other creature. And as it continuously decides to untap, we can also just make another creature just go infinite, potentially, depending on how much mana we have.
That would be pretty sweet, to be
So,
fair.
yeah. So the thoughts that I had. Well, let's start with Ashen in chat. Ashen's got Corpsejack Menace and Winding Constrictor, both great cards. Corpsejack Menace is the fungus 4/4 for 2 and Golgari, black and green. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. So we're just doubling up on our +1/+1 counter generation, which is completely okay with me.
Yeah. And then Winding Constrictor.
Winding.
Yeah, so black and a green
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
a 2/3.
Go away, Lois.
If one or more counters would be placed on an artifact or creature you control, that many of those counters +1 are placed on that permanent instead. And if you would get one or more counters, you get that many of those counters +1 instead.
Yep. So Winding Constrictor is going to be great here for us to just add additional +1/+1 counters or any counter of any sort that Willowdusk will afford us. Or we have many other ways of getting +1/+1 counters on our creatures. Now, before we even go further in that, I mean, we can go ahead and see how much we're going in on this. So let's talk about I mean, the other 2 cards that come immediately to mind. Doubling Season is an automatic include in this, I feel like, as far as the +1/+1 counters go. And the other one is a Branching Evolution from Jumpstart. It's just the twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead.
Yeah.
Portion of it for 3 as an enchantment. I love that card so much. I have a Skullbriar deck that immediately got it thrown into because once we pulled it in Jumpstart, just it does a lot of work.
Yeah. See, I was
So
looking at
for
Hardened
me,
Scales.
branching evolution, doubling season. Hardened scales is a good one. Yeah, the 1 mana enchantment
Yeah.
that does it. It's +1 though, right? It's not quite double.
No, it's if one or more counters will be put on, put that many +1. But it's
Plus
only a
one.
1 mana enchantment to do that.
Right. Yeah, I like it. It's if you have it in your opening hand, it's a nice big. Let's go ahead and throw it on. Otherwise, yeah, you committed 1 mana later on into the game to do the same effect for just a little bit extra value. So my big thing as far as when we have Willowdusk out and we're putting a bunch of these +1/+1 counters on, my big question was what kind of creatures do we want to buff? That was my biggest thing.
That's true. Generally, something with trample might be beneficial, or some kind of evasion.
Right? I was thinking more along the lines of evasion more so than trample.
Yeah.
What did you have as far as creatures that you wanted to buff, Lotus?
As in creatures I wanted to buff, I went more for utility. There are creatures that fit both of our needs. So I think this is the
Correct.
best time to discuss it. Razaketh the Foul-Blooded.
Ooh, okay. You decided to go with a big old demon right off the bat. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So hear me out. I know it's 5 black, black, black for an 8/8 flying trample demon. It's got flying.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
No, it's got flying, it's got trample, it's got evasion, and it can power through. But you can also pay 2 life and sacrifice another creature to search for a card in your library. And that could be enough if you keep paying 2 life to put counters onto your Razaketh.
Sure. So, yeah, how do you feel about a burning rune demon? Let's go ahead and shove Razaketh right into the graveyard.
That's the new one from
And
Cowtime,
why, you
isn't
may
it?
ask? The Burning Rune Demon, it's 4 black and black for a 6/6 flyer, who we could also buff, Demon Berserker. When Burning Rune Demon enters the battlefield, you may search your library for exactly 2 cards, not named Burning Rune Demon, that have different names. If you do, reveal those cards. An opponent chooses one of them. Put the chosen card into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. Then shuffle your library. You can make a deal with somebody at the table saying, hey, I'm going to put one of my cards into the graveyard and the other one's going to go ahead and give me the ability to find us an answer. Why not have the best of both worlds? So my thought here would be strike that deal with another opponent who is on your team. And why not fetch Razaketh? And how about a Reanimate? So Reanimate goes perfectly in this deck because for 1 black, it's a sorcery. You get to just put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So the synergy here is that you're going to lose some life, which Willowdusk might like, right?
Yeah.
Kind of tends to enjoy us losing some life. And then we can get Razaketh right onto the battlefield. Nice little 8/8 flyer. Razaketh can then go ahead and tutor for any of your removals that you're going to be running in this deck, which we have quite a few of those that came out in Strixhaven that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that seems good. I like the synergy of those a lot.
There's some fun reanimation targets, even if it's not necessarily Razaketh either.
I just want to take a step back, just 1 card.
Sure.
So going back to the doubling season, the Hardened Scales and Corpjack's Menace, I think Rayhan would fit in quite nicely as well.
Yep.
Rayhan Last of
sounds like
the
a perfect fit.
Asban. Yeah, 1 black green for a 0/0. When it enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever a creature you control dies or is put into the command zone, if it had 1 or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may put that many +1 counters on target creature.
Right. So with any of our +1/+1 counter doublers, we're going to be able to just have even more. I like it. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put some more onto one of our other creatures.
Yeah. And
Seems pretty
there is
good.
a way of saving those counters as well in case of an emergency. The Ozolith.
Ozolith is a fantastic card. Yep. So
Yeah.
we could just go ahead and store any of those +1/+1 counters away, put them back on something, especially with them doubling. Yeah. Yeah. Nice
Yeah.
little synergies going on here. Ashen's in chat. Ashen says Vorinclex is perfect, right?
Oh god.
I haven't even thought about Vorinclex, honestly.
Yeah, I forgot about Vorinclex, if I'm honest, because he's disgusting. Do you want to read this one out?
Seems perfect. Sure, Vorinclex, 4 green green. This is the Monstrous Raider, by the way. 6/6 Trample Haste out of Kaldheim. Legendary creature, a Phyrexian Praetor. We always need one of those in our decks, right?
Yeah.
If you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Because Vorinclex needed more text. If an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Rounded down. Seems like a good include here.
That's just filthy.
No, that's fine. I think the one card that I really want to shout out right now before we go any further is with all these +1/+1 counters that are just floating around, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about a Devoted Druid? So Devoted Druid is a 0/2 elf druid, 1 and a green.
Yeah.
You can tap this Devoted Druid to add 1 green to your mana pool. However, it has a second ability. Put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid, and you can untap Devoted Druid.
I mean, that would work really
So,
well. However, be aware that doubling season would put twice as many on.
there's a disclaimer here. So doubling season as well as the Vorinclex would put double of those each. However, if we're putting as many +1/+1 counters as I feel like we're going to with Willowdusk, doubling season, wouldn't it just cancel each other out?
I
Yes,
mean, yeah,
-2/-2, but we're also putting that many +1/+1 counters additionally, so they'll kind of negate each other out. But if you only have a 1, you can potentially go infinite with it, right? As far as green mana.
potentially.
As many +1/+1 counters as you have, I should say.
Yeah.
So Devoted Druid has the potential to go ahead and net us a lot of mana.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
So I quite like Devoted Druid here. Just a nice little way to go ahead and pump up a bunch of mana for whatever shenanigans you would like to do.
Yeah.
Hey, Geriatrics. Nice to see you. Ashen's in chat suggesting, I feel like this is the deck where Hatred could shine, which I agree. Hatred is a fantastic card in this deck.
Okay. 3 black instant. Pay X life. Target creature gets +X/+O until end of turn. Yeah, so we pay 10 life, give it +10/+O, then tap our commander and give it 10 counters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna scrub.
fair.
I'm gonna scrub Hatred off my list because that was on mine.
Ashen beat you to it.
Yeah, but
Jerry Hatrix is suggesting Collodion Hydra. So Collodion Hydra.
yeah,
Did you want to read it off actually, Lotus? This
th-
one's a fantastic one too.
3 green for a Hydra 0/0 with trample. When it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, whenever it
Or more.
attacks, double the number of +1 counters on each creature you control.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was each creature.
Oh yeah, it's each creature. Everything gets +1/+1 counters.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
That's
seems
not
fair.
broken.
No.
So I do have a suggestion to help you with your devoted druid issue.
Sure.
I say issue. So
Sure. What you got?
Unspeakable symbol.
Yep.
So it's an enchantment for 1 black. Pay 3 life, put a +1 counter on target creature. Again, great synergy for the +1 counters and great synergy for the commander.
Yeah, I quite like it. Yeah, the fantastic part about that is that yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and have no issues as far as those +1/+1 counters going anywhere.
No, definitely not.
So that's getting us pay life, which I love to do. For those of you that don't know, I have a Crick deck where I call it Suicide Crick. It is not a combo deck until it eventually gets there. But I play around with my life total a lot. Which, speaking of which, yeah, Crick should definitely go in this deck, no? Crick, Son of Yawgmoth, 4, Phyrexian black. 2/2 life linking horror minion legendary creature. For each swamp black mana in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. Whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. So, yeah, let's cast some black spells and make Crick huge. And oh, it's got lifelink too? Cool. We'll just get all that back.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be able to use Phyrexian mana instead of black mana necessarily for any of our activated abilities, any of our costs. Yep. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I like that.
Oh,
Would you like another creature that serves our purposes very well, but also could be considered removal?
sure.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking of Villis, the Broker of Blood. It's 5 black,
more
black,
demons.
black. Yeah, another demon. A flying 8/8. However, it has pay a black and 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 to end of turn. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards.
Yeah, I like it. It could be an alternate target as well for if Razaketh is already there.
Yeah. I just think that works in tandem quite well.
Oh, Ashen, I mean, yes, Hatred is very expensive as of right now, especially.
Oh gosh, yeah.
However, this isn't a budget deck. If you'd
No.
rather, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say this, but if you'd rather, we can instead just use a Berserk and give the creature +X/+0 and trample instead. Which, with Willowdusk, it's not a bad way to go actually. If you already have a bunch of +1/+1 counters on it, well, now I'm gonna double that in terms of the power and trample, and we're probably gonna sack this somehow before the end of the turn anyways. So yeah. I like
Yeah.
Berserk here. It's only half the cost of it's less than half the cost of Hatred.
I mean, only just. It's still expensive, but I quite like both, to be honest.
Yep. I quite like it a lot.
So, what happens when you attack with a big creature and you don't get through? You still want to get some benefit off it, correct?
Sure.
What if we put Veto in? Thorn of the Dusk Rose.
I like it.
2 and a black, Vampire Cleric 1/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. But for 3 black creatures you control gain lifelink to end of turn. And remember,
Oh yeah.
our commander doesn't care if you gain or lose life, it just chooses the greatest value of either. And we are spending a lot of our life, so I think we need to kind of recoup some of it.
Sure. I mean, to that effect, why not throw in an exquisite blood, right?
Are we just going to
4
put
and
in the combo?
I mean, I don't see why not. If you have all the other pieces, you might as well, right? So exquisite blood would be where I would start. 4 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life.
Yeah.
And Lotus, did you want to take the second part away?
So Sanguine Bond is another enchantment for 3 black. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life.
Yeah.
So you hit for 5. They lose 5. You gain 5. Sanguine Bond then says they lose 5 because you gained 5. And the cycle repeats until everyone dies.
No, I mean, again, if you have Crick out, first of all, all of these mana symbols, Sanguine Bond with 2 black and Exquisite Blood with 1 black would just be 2 life anyways.
Yeah.
And if you have both of them out, just pay 2 life to do anything. And you're going to have an infinite loop there. So yeah, that'll do it.
Yep. I mean, life is a resource after all.
Now, what I do like, however, is I do like the idea of having life-linking creatures.
Okay.
So some of the ones that I, immediately thought of as far as targets to put these +1/+1 counters on would be things like Nighthawk Scavenger and our Vampire Nighthawk. So flying Death Touch lifelink on both of them. So it's a creature that flies for evasion. It has Death Touch, so it's a nice little way of blocking
Yeah.
for any scary creatures that other people might have and might just dissuade them. I mean, and then on top of that, we have a lifelink. So if any of these creatures have, I don't know, let's just say a conservative 10 +1/+1 encounters on this, we're going to death touch them or what have you, and we're going to gain that much life anyways.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, you put these +1/+1 counters on by tapping Willowdusk, and you will, swing through, gain some life, and then using the Umbral Mantle or Staff of Domination, we can just untap Willowdusk and then put even more +1/+1 counters on. Seems fair. We can put it
Yeah.
on other creatures too. It doesn't have to. We don't even have to necessarily do it all on one creature either.
No, I think it's best to spread out a little bit.
Yep.
So Ashen is saying, "Oh, how about Belladros?"
Oh yeah, Mr. Elder Dragon over here with.
Okay,
I quite like this.
I was trying to stay away from Strixhaven personally, because we
Oof,
don't know
no.
what's in the decks. But
Oh no, I have so many cards to go through from Strixhaven. They are some fantastic Golgari cards.
okay, so what's this one do? 5 black green for a flying elder dragon 4/4. At the
Has
beginning
the
of
evasion we
each
want.
upkeep, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, gain a life. Okay. Pay 10 life, untap all what? Untap all lands you control. Activate
Yep.
once each turn.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's a fantastic card.
oh, okay.
This can be a commander all by itself. However, that being said, it is a fantastic card in this deck. So it's also got each upkeep. Let's just point that out.
Does it have an
So it's not
alternate?
just I'm sure it
Oh,
does. Not
that's
sure.
gorgeous.
However, however, so we're paying 10 life to untap all of our lands. We
Yeah.
only do this once each turn. In and of itself, if you sacrifice this and bring this back through supernatural stamina or any of these things, you can definitely do that more than once per turn because it would be a new iteration of Belladros.
Yeah, it'll be a different.
However, I think in this deck, even just doing that once is just fine, and you could just have Belladros create these pests for you each upkeep. If anybody's ever played with something like a Tender Shoot Dryad or
The
yeah,
Verdant
you know that
Force.
the Yep, Verdant Force. Then you know that these things will do some work for you, and we want these creatures to die so that we can gain one life and add life to our pool. It sounds great to me.
That sounds really good, actually. I wasn't really. I never considered it because I was like, oh, Strixhaven's fine. We won't have anything too bad. And then you've just mentioned that. So, okay.
Well, since
Which,
we have Ashen mentioning Belladros here,
oh, but Belladros is going to lead me into my next card so beautifully.
oh, go ahead.
So,
I've got one as well.
picture the scene. You have all your mana. You tap all of
Hmm.
it. You pay your 10 life. You tap it again. Okay? And
Okay.
then you have double your mana to cast an Exsanguinate.
Yep, that'll do it.
And then you're going to get
So,
all of that back.
yep. So Exsanguinate is a fantastic card. It'll wipe the board and you'll get life and everything we want. We want to gain life, make other people lose life. Yeah, nothing bad about any of this so far.
And should recover from Belladros's ability.
Another card that I would like to just kind of throw out there. This may not necessarily be the right deck for it. However, it definitely goes hand in hand with Belladros. So Plumb the Forbidden.
Plum.
Yep, Plumb. Plumb
Okay.
the Forbidden is 1 in a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice one or more creatures. When you do, Copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way. You draw a card, and you lose 1 life. Remember those pest tokens that we just talked about?
That's insane. Okay, I like
Yep.
that.
So anytime you sacrifice any of these 1/1 black-green pest creature tokens,
Yeah.
it's going to die. It's going to gain you 1 life. Plum the Forgotten says, for each one of those that died, you're going to copy this spell. You're going to draw a card and lose 1 life, gain 1 life. Oh, wait, I'm just drawing cards for however many creatures I sacrificed? Is that what's going on here?
I do have another one that you might like as well.
Sure. What you got?
It's an old one that I don't see very often, but I think this is the deck for it. And I'm going to probably mispronounce this. But Argul's Bloodfast?
Oh, I forgot about that card out of Ixalan.
Oh, it was Ixalan. I'm thinking of the From the Vaults. So it's 1 and a black for a legendary enchantment that just says pay 1 and a black and 2 life to draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 5 or less life, you may transform it. It transforms into Temple of Aklazotz, I think. Another legendary land that taps to add a black, or tap, sacrifice a creature, gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness.
Sure. That sounds perfectly reasonable.
Reasonable, of course.
Yep. Ashen is in chat suggesting Kamigawa cards. Okay, let's talk about Life Gift. Life Gift. I'm not familiar with this one.
Okay, I haven't heard that either. Life.
So Life Gift, I just looked it up. 2 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a land comes into play, you may gain 1 life. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're going to be...
Incidental life gain?
Yeah, especially if we're spending a lot of it.
One of the things that I would definitely like to include here, I looked at some of these Strixhaven cards and they just looked so fantastic. You can't not put some of these in.
What?
The first one...
Before I go any further, Ashen's made a very valid point. Whenever a land comes into play, not ours,
right.
any.
Yeah. I got that.
I didn't. I didn't. Just glossed straight over that one.
Oh yeah, no. Any land. So the downside to that in terms of for us would be that life gain isn't able to benefit us through Willowdusk because it's the abilities at sorcery speed.
No, but it tops us back up.
Yeah, it definitely gets us a lot of a lot of life off of lands for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So, fueling more Belladros pay 10 life triggers and untapping all our lands and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind that at all. Also of note in terms of Belladros, the pay 10 life untap all lands you control, it just says activate once each turn. So if you really wanted to do it on somebody else's turn, you could also do it on somebody else's turn. Just keep that in mind. True. Back to what I was saying though. So with Willowdusk, loving both life gain, life loss, doesn't matter. I don't think it's very hard, but Mortality Spear just becomes a fantastic removal card. Because Mortality Spear costs 2 and Golgari for an instant that says this spell costs 2 less to cast if you gained life this turn. And it just destroys a target non-land permanent.
That's pretty good even for 4 mana.
I mean, it's basically Assassin's Trophy without giving them the land, right?
Yeah.
And it's also destroyed target non-land permanent. So, yeah, I quite liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Now, remember I do want to cycle back for a second, though. Do you remember those pest tokens that we happen to really like right now?
Yes.
There's a fantastic card called Tend the Pest. So it's an instant for 1 black, 1 green. It's an instant speed spell that says as an additional cost to cast this spell, you sacrifice a creature.
Okay.
Create X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens. With when this creature dies, you gain 1 life, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. So with all those
Oh,
+1/+1 counters going on to something, we're just going to make that many pests. And then going back to, oh, Plumb the Forbidden. Oh, now that doesn't seem so bad when we're drawing a bunch of cards for all these pests. Oh, wait, what?
I mean, even with Berserk, though, if you have to sacrifice it at the end at instant speed, just kill it to that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty sweet.
There's some fantastic cards, like I said, in Strixhaven for this commander, and it just cannot be understated. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. See, I had some really weird utility cards that I was like, these are really, until you put them in this deck. So I
Oh
was
yeah.
looking at Phyrexian Processor.
Ooh, yeah.
So Phyrexian Processor is 4 colorless for an artifact, and as it enters the battlefield, pay any amount of life. Then for 4 and tap, put an XX black minion creature token onto the battlefield, where X is the life paid as Phyrexian Processor enters the battlefield. So we could go, let's pay 20 life, and then make a 20/20, and then tap Willowdusk and put on 20/20 in the first turn.
And if we have an Ozolith or any of those things out, we're just making, yeah, we're making a 40/40, right? All
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and we could just do that once every turn. As long as the processor is still on the battlefield, we could just do it again next turn.
yeah.
Seems pretty good. One that I really liked, kind of similar to that actually, uh, is a Flesh Carver.
Oh,
Flesh Carver is uh, a card that I came across as I was going through my old Omnixilis precon. And 1 black and 2 for a 2/2 human wizard with Intimidate. So there's some evasion for you.
yeah.
1 and a black, and you sacrifice another creature, and you can put 2+1/+1 counters on Flesh Carver. When Flesh Carver dies, put an XX black horror creature token onto the battlefield, where X is Flesh Carver's power.
Nice.
So go ahead and board wipe me. I still have some insurance.
Yeah, and if we got the Ozolith, we can just put the counters back on.
Straight back on. I love it.
Do you want some more card draw? Or
I think
card
Ashen suggested a perfect one.
Necropotence? Yeah, that's one of the ones I was going to suggest, but not the one that I wanted to just yet. But let's go for Necropotence first.
Sure.
Black, black,
So,
black. Enchantment. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library face down, put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step.
yep. Feeds our losing life strategy. We go ahead and just continue to do what we do. Yep, I like it.
Yeah. My one, though, was Ad Nauseam.
Oh yeah. With the
So,
reprint too, Ad Nauseam is so nice
yeah.
and cheap too.
So 3 black, black for an instant. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. You may repeat the process any number of times. That could be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I quite like that a lot. I think that that's really sweet actually. Yeah, if you think about it. See, I thought you were gonna go with a Sylvan Library. Yeah, I think I actually prefer Sylvan Library. You can actually pay more life and get more cards out of it.
Yeah, did you want to read that to the people at home?
Sure. So Sylvan Library, 1 and a green. Get it out of Commander Collection green because it's still a fantastic card to pull just in all by itself. Uh, at the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put the top card on top of your library. So basically, draw 3 cards, choose 2 of them, and put them back if you don't like them. Otherwise, pay 8 life and you get to keep all 3 cards,
But we're paying life.
which we like to do in this.
How much life would you like to pay to draw, let's say, 4 cards?
4 life if we're using Necropotence, right?
No, 4 life. Let's play Infernal Contract and lose half of our life. So it's a
Ooh, okay.
sorcery for black, black, black. Draw 4 cards, you lose half your life rounded up. Can you?
Okay, seems risky to me.
It seems risky, but then you put that many counters on a creature.
Sure.
Life is a resource. You'll be fine.
Sure. I just thought of a card that I hadn't thought of in forever.
Okay.
How do you feel about a Font of Agonies?
Font of Agonies. Okay.
Yeah. You want to read that out for us, Lotus?
Single black enchantment from Ravnica Allegiance.
Yep.
Whenever you pay life, put that many blood counters on Font of Agonies. 1 and a black. Remove 4 blood counters from Font of Agonies. Destroy target creature. That's pretty good. And if we've got Vorinclex out, that just doubles.
Yep, it's not bad. I just thought of it. I hadn't thought of that card in forever.
Doubling season will double that too. Okay, I quite like that.
Right. A couple of cards that I want to throw out actually. So the other card that I really like for mana generation, I know we've mentioned Devoted Druid.
Yeah.
And I quite like a Blood Celebrant. So Blood Celebrant is a 1 black mana creature. 1/1, but has the ability you pay 1 black and you pay 1 life, and you get to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's more color fixing.
Right. And one other creature that I really like, as far as the paying 1 life goes, is a Mischievous Poltergeist. So, Mischievous Poltergeist out of 6th edition, I think? I can't remember. 2 and a black for a 1/1 flyer that has pay 1 life, and you get to regenerate Mischievous Poltergeist.
That's pretty good.
So this creature can just get any number of +1/+1 counters on it, and it says just pay 1 life to regenerate it. So it kind of has a sticking around ability in and of itself.
Yeah. What is our division like? So mana cost. Okay, so we're 3/4 black mana, which makes my next suggestion pretty nice, I feel.
Oh yeah, what you got?
What about Gary?
Gary could work.
Yeah, Gary, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. 3 black black for a zombie 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is its devotion or your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So X is 10, your each opponent loses 10, you gain 30.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Geriatrics and yeah, which Pelucranos are you talking about? Unchained or World Eater?
I'm going to have a look at both.
Because I think Unchained is the zombie Hydra out of Theros Beyond.
World Eater.
That's the one that enters with 6 +1/+1 counters on it.
Okay, let me have a look at the other one first then. Unchained. So Unchained is 2 black green for a 0/0. Enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. It escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to Pelucranos while it has +1 counters on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters from it. Pay 1 black green and it fights another creature, and it escapes for, I believe, 4 black green.
Yep. And exiling 6 other cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it can come down with 24 plus 1 encounters with an escape quite easily, actually, if you
Yeah.
think about it.
What's the World Eater? 2 green with monstrous X. When it becomes monstrous, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures your opponents control. Each of those creatures deal damage equal to its power to Pelucranos.
Yeah, Geriatric said the Unchained one, the newer one. So
Yeah, we'll stick with that
the
one
other,
because I like that one.
yeah, the other suggestion Geriatrics made was Chalice of Life. So Chalice of Life is a 3 mana artifact that has tap, and you gain 1 life. Then, if you have at least 10 life more than your starting total, you get to transform Chalice of Life. Chalice of Life then becomes Chalice of Death, where it's an artifact that taps, and a target player just loses 5 life every time.
That could be us as well, just to get a little bit more counters.
Yeah, we could either use it for targeting ourselves and get some more +1 encounters out of it if we're, say, at 120 life, or we can go ahead and just whittle somebody down 5 life at a time. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that too.
How would you feel? Because you liked Ab Nauseam, didn't you?
I
So
thought it was okay. Yeah.
what about
I'm
Twilight
I'm I'm a
Prophet?
little bit I'm a little bit concerned about our CMC with ad nauseum, but
It'll be fine.
Twilight Prophet.
Yeah, Twilight Prophet. So 2
Hmm.
black for a vampire cleric with flying, so it has our evasion, it has ascend. It's a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the city's blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the card's converted mana. So it gives us an extra card in our draws in our upkeep, and also gives us some life and drains our opponents.
Okay. Ashton says if you're worried about CMC, how about going all out with Dark Confidant? Yeah, I don't think Dark Confidant goes in here.
I mean, it could.
So one creature that I quite like as a target for these +1 encounters. Do you remember out of Zendikar Rising a certain demon, since you're all about these demons today, Lotus? This one happens to be a demon cleric. Can you guess it?
My mind is drawing a blank, if I'm honest.
Sure. Taborax, Hope's Demise. So 2 and a black for a flyer 2/2. Taborax, Hope's Demise has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put +1/+1 counter on Taborax. If that creature was a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, you lose 1 life.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Lots of +1/+1 counters are definitely going on Taborax with our commander's ability. So, yeah, probably going to have lifelink.
Do we need more token generation?
You mean more than 10 the pests?
Yeah.
Sure. What
How
are you thinking?
how do you feel of either Bitter Blossom or Dread Horde Invasion?
I quite like Dread Horde Invasion better of the two, due to that second line of text on it.
Do you want to read it?
Sure. Dread Horde Invasion, enchantment for 1 and a black. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and you amass 1. So anybody that enjoyed the army zombie tokens, black zombie army creature tokens from War of the Spark, eat your heart out because you're going to put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. And whenever any zombie token you control has power 6 or greater, it gains lifelink until the end of turn.
Yep.
So these tokens can also get some +1/+1 counters and give us lifelink. And you're going to guaranteed have 1 at the beginning of your upkeep each time, and you're going to lose 1 life. Yep. It checks all the boxes. I like it.
Yeah, I thought you might like that one. We're at 84 cards. Did
Okay.
we want to start looking at ramp removal?
Yeah, we can start looking at some ramp. I've got 1 extra ramp card actually out of Strixhaven here.
Okay.
It's a creature called Accomplished Alchemist. 3 and a green for an elf druid. 2/5. It taps to add 1 mana of any color. And you can also tap it as a second ability. And you can add X mana of any one color, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn.
Ooh.
Quite spicy in our deck where we're gaining a bunch of life.
Yeah.
Losing life too, but with all these lifelink creatures, I think we have ways certainly to get this life back.
Yeah, we can counterbalance it. I have 2 removal spells I'd like to talk to you about.
Sure.
So the first one, Toxic Deluge.
Oof. Okay.
2 and a black. As an additional cost, pay X life. All creatures get -X to end of turn. As long as we
Sure.
plan it correctly, could be quite devastating to our opponents.
Yep. Ashton says perfect. Love Deluge.
Yeah. The second one is more targeted removal, I should say.
Okay.
And it's Erebos's Intervention. So it's an instant for X and black. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. You gain X life. Or exile up to twice X cards from graveyards.
Okay.
See? Removal with life gain. I give and I take.
Okay. Here's a counter suggestion that I have that does relatively the same thing. So we could either double up in the removal category with this, or you can see if you like this better.
Okay.
I would throw out an Inscription of Abundance at you here, and let me know what you think.
Description of Abundance is 1 and a green with kicker, 2 and a green. Choose 1. If the scale was kicked, choose any number. So put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Target player gains X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures they control. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Honestly, I would run both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good with running both, but I quite like Inscription of Abundance because it also fills both of those categories.
Yeah.
Some life gain, some +1/+1 and counter synergy on top just to boot if you kick it. But I mean, any of those things seems great, even at just 2 mana.
Yeah, I think with Erebos's Intervention, I also like the fact that you can exile cards from graveyards that are causing you problems. So having
Sure.
both will be very beneficial to our strategies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with this. Now, let's talk about one more targeted removal. I feel like I'd be remiss to not mention a Death Sprout. 1 black, black, and green for an instant that destroys a target creature, and you get to ramp a basic land card onto the battlefield tapped.
Death Sprout.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
there
word.
it is.
Death
One word.
Sprout. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I've done it again. We're in green.
Done what?
Barrier
I mean,
breach.
we're technically in green. Yeah. Barrier breach.
2 and a green instant. I'll keep saying this every single time we're in green. Exile up to 3 target enchantments.
Yep. It is that good.
It's very good.
Ashen has a suggestion from chat saying Emergent Sequence. This is a ramp card from Strixhaven. 1 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle. That land becomes a green and blue fractal creature that's still a land, 0/0.
Yeah.
Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it ramps. It creates a body, gives us +1 counters.
Yes. I just don't know how many +1/+1 counters are going to go on this, how big it's going to get. I think I'm a little uncertain about this one, if I'm being honest.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the maybe board then.
So I think we have a decent amount of things here. Let me take a look at what we've got so far.
Okay.
Uh,
We have 10
so we've
cards
got
remaining. There
10
is
cards remaining.
there is a card that ramps us that does interact with our commander.
Oh,
Mana Crypt. So, Mana Crypt
okay.
is a 0-drop. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, it deals 3 damage to you, and it taps for 2. So, yes, it's just a soul ring that hurts you, but we want to get hurt so we can put more +1 counters on things.
Yeah.
I don't normally suggest a card that's £150 that's just a soul ring with extra steps, but I think in this instance it works. I know
Speaking of
people
which,
are
have we added a
screaming.
soul ring?
I know people are screaming at me, going, "How dare you call it a soul ring with extra steps?" That's it. I'm done as a creator. No one's gonna watch me anymore.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think that yeah, we could run with the mana crypt, I suppose. My only question with the mana crypt is how much do we need it?
Probably not a lot, but it was just the fact that we don't want to run a soul ring. We don't really want an arcane signet, so why not?
Sure. I think that's fine. So
I think we
I'm just
do
looking
need
through some of our
things that
cards.
we do need things like 3 visits or and is it Nature's Law?
Nature's lore, rampant growth. Take your pick. So,
Forward card and
uh, while we're in the subject of ramping,
yes.
so I'm not 100% certain how I feel about. Hmm. Well, give me a second here, because I just don't know how I feel about that mana crypt. I'm still not 100% sold on that, if I'm being honest.
Okay,
Because
well, it doesn't even look like Archidex put it in the thing, so we've not even got it, so don't worry about
oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth because our commander, it's not like a 5 or 7. Let's put it this way. If it was Beladros, the Elder Dragon we were running, I'd be all for it because we're trying to get to 7 CMC to get our commander out once.
Okay,
3, I don't know if we need it.
fair. Then I'll suggest another artifact in its replacement.
Sure.
Shadow Spear.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and throw that right in. Mm-hmm.
Yep, a 1 mana artifact for equip for 2. A creature gets +1/+1, trample and lifelink, which is great. And 1 generic, permanents your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible to end of turn.
Yep. I like it a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Does that make you feel a bit better?
Yes, that makes me feel much better, actually. One creature I actually forgot to mention.
Okay.
Uh, it's Eradicator Valkyrie. Out of Call Time. 2 black, 4/3 flying, lifelink, and hexproof from Planeswalkers. It's a nice
Okay.
little angel berserker. Has the ability Boast. Pay 1 and a black. We get to sacrifice a creature, which some of our things we're going to be sacrificing these creatures anyhow.
Yep.
Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker.
Oh, I like it adds Planeswalker into that as well.
Yeah. So you got a pesky planeswalker, like a, I don't know, Teferi that keeps phasing some of your creatures out? Nope, not Eradicator Valkyrie. Hexproof from planeswalkers, and it makes them sacrifice it too. And it's got a lifelink on there, so all the things we want. Gain some life back, do some more life loss, keep it going.
Seems reasonable. Now, with the Shadow Spear, we're going to be gaining potentially a lot of life. I think we need more things to spend our life on.
Ooh,
So,
I've got one.
Bolus's Citadel.
Yep, let's do it.
3 black, black, black. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana rather than paying its mana cost. And tap, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. Now we have something else to do with all those pests.
Yep, let's go ahead and get Villas Broker of Blood out for just paying 8 life instead with Bolus's Citadel.
Yeah.
Yep, let's do it. Yeah, Bolus's Citadel goes in. It's a fantastic card. It's in my Crick deck. I never pay 6 mana for it. I always pay 3 and 6 life. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. So Jojo has just said, what about Sword of the Animist? That's the one that gets land, isn't it?
Yeah, basic lands, I believe. That's on
2.
attack trigger.
Yeah, +1/+1. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. I like this card. I think it needs to see more play.
I think it just doesn't because most decks that run a Sword of the Animist are typically not in green, in my experience. So
Yeah.
blue-white decks, white deck, mono-white, mono-blue decks love this card because it just gets them their basic lands every single time.
No, I can see that, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we are currently sitting at 97 cards.
Right. I'm looking at anything else that I've missed that I really wanted to throw in here.
There is one, and I'm really disappointed Ashen hasn't mentioned it.
It's on Ashen. Okay, I'm good with this.
Yeah, okay. So this one's called Pain's Reward.
Uh-oh, Pain's Reward.
Pain's Reward. 2 and a black for a sorcery. You bid any amount of life. In turn order, each player may top the high bid. The bidding ends if the high bid stands. The high bidder loses life equal to the high bid and draws 4 cards.
Huh. Okay.
So we can go bid 6 life. And if anyone beats that, they lose a lot of life. Or we get 4 cards, lose 6 life, and trigger Willowdusk.
I'm personally not entirely certain I like it, but
I
we'll
don't
throw
care.
it in for now. No, we can definitely throw it in for now.
It's permanent. It's staying. I like it.
Fair. So I did find about 3 or 4 cards that I want to run by you. Let's see what you think about some of these. So out of Strixhaven, we have Dina, Soul Steeper, Dina. Legendary creature, Dryad Druid, 1/3. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Whenever. I like it.
Okay.
Some of those pests. I can see the synergy. Also has pay 1 mana, sacrifice another creature, meaning that we could do this at instant speed any number of times. Sack outlet, cool. Dina, Soul Steeper, gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is the sacrificed creature's power.
Ooh. I quite like
So
that.
I think the gain 1 life, each opponent loses 1 life is not bad. I'm not sure we need it, so I think this is a maybe board for me, actually, though, now that I think about it, just because of the way we're going. I like the whenever you gain a life, each opponent loses 1 life, so that's basically any of those pests, right? Because they
True.
die, you gain a life, and everybody would also lose a life from it. I see the synergy there, but let's throw in the maybe board for now. I think I like these other cards better. Rite of Consumption. So, Rite of Consumption is 1 and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to play Rite of Consumption, we sacrifice a creature.
Okay.
Rite of Consumption deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to a target player. And we gain life equal to the damage dealt this way.
Ooh, I do like that one.
I
Okay.
think that that's just strictly better as far as compared to Dina. And one other one that I really wanted to mention was a Dying Wish. This is a card out of Gatecrash, I believe. Dying Wish is a one in a black for an enchantment aura. It enchants a creature that we control. When the enchanted creature dies, target player loses X life and we gain X life, where X is the power.
Wow, I like that one a lot as well.
Yeah, so go ahead and kill this. Or if you don't want to, I'll just sacrifice it. I'll still get the benefit, and then Willowdusk will do some more stuff. Yay.
Fair. Do we still
Uh,
want another creature that gets +1 counters? In fact,
I mean,
have we already got it before I suggest it? No, we don't. Good.
no, go ahead and suggest it.
So I'm going
What do we
to
got?
Soul Drinker.
Soul Drinker. Okay.
3 and a black for a spirit that's a 2/2. Pay 3 life, put a +1 counter on Soul Drinker.
Okay. My only issue with Soul Drinker is that it doesn't have evasion.
That's fair. Satisfied for maybe board?
Sure. I would suggest 2 cards over that
Okay.
easily. And so I'll give the first one as the weaker candidate
Okay.
that I still think is better than Soul Drinker. And then I'll give the second one, which I really would like to include in this deck. So the first one, Forgotten Ancient. Forgotten Ancient is a fantastic elemental creature. 3 and a green. 0/3. That says whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1/+1 counters from Forgotten Ancient onto other creatures.
Ooh. I quite like that, actually.
Yeah. Branching Evolution, when you move it, twice that many counters. Forgotten Ancient gets a +1/+1 counter. Anytime any player casts a spell, gets out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the second card is something that I fully expected you to suggest along this way here was Vigor. One of your favorites.
I'm ashamed to admit that I forgot. I completely forgot about Vigor. Oh, he's my boy.
So, yeah. Vigor, 3 green, green, green. 6/6 trampling, elemental incarnation. If damage would be dealt to another creature you control, prevent that damage. Put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. When Vigor is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into its owner's library. So all our creatures are getting +1/+1 counters for any damage taken.
And then potentially doubled, if not more.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to suggest this so that I could suggest a Pestilence.
You want Pestilence?
'Cause, I mean, why not, right?
Okay.
Pestilence.
Yeah. So 2 black black enchantment at the beginning of at the end of each turn. If there are no creatures in play, sacrifice it. Pay a single black, deal 1 damage to each creature and player. Yeah.
Yep. So imagine a scenario where we have Vigor out, Pestilence is out. We just cast Tend the Pests, and we have a bunch of creature tokens.
Yeah.
They're all going to get buffed with Pestilence. Pestilence works also Crick, because then you're now just paying 2 life in order to activate Pestilence to deal 1 damage to each creature and player, which we want to pay life anyhow. In chat, Jojo is saying if we're messing with counters, what about Walking Ballista? Yeah, if we want to go ahead and head that route for some infinite combos, we definitely have Walking Ballista. You can do the Mike and Trike combos. I just wanted to go more away from instant wins, I guess, and just some things that are more telegraphed.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you play a ballista, it's telegraphed.
pretty much. Ooh, interesting thought that I just had. How do you feel about a spike feeder? It's just because JoJo mentioned walking ballista. Spike feeder.
Spike
One
feeder.
green for a creature, 0/0. It enters the battlefield with two +1/+1 counters on it. Pay two, remove a +1/+1 counter from spike feeder, and you can put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature. Or remove a +1/+1 counter from spike feeder, you gain 2 life.
Yeah.
So Willowdusk gives Spike Feeder a bunch of +1/+1 counters.
Oh god.
We gain a bunch of life off of Spike Feeder.
Yeah, so
Umbral Mantle, Staff of Domination.
so you remove a +1 counter to gain 2 life, which is 2, which means Willow Bloom would put 2 back on. So you're actually
Yeah,
increasing the amount each turn. Willow Dusk, sorry.
yeah. And again, if we have Staff of Domination or Umbral Mantle, we'll just, I mean, think about that with Devoted Druid, right?
Mm,
We got a combo there, Jojo. It's a little bit more convoluted than Walking Ballista, but I think I like that one. It's
yeah.
gaining us life on top.
Well, I've put both in. I've also cut a forest and a swamps to go down to 34 lands because our mana curve is only 3.29.
Okay.
So I think that's fine. Otherwise, we're at 103 cards, so I don't think we have to actually cut that much this time.
Sweet. All right. So 2 lands I want to cut for actual land utility cards.
Okay, so we'll cut
Let's
the
get
two
these out of the way.
lands. Go for it.
Hall of the Bandit Lord. So it comes in tapped as a legendary land. Tap it, pay 3 life. We like to do that. Add 1 mana to your mana pool. If it's spent on a creature spell, creature has haste.
I like that. Another Kamigawa special.
And Mirren, the Moaning Well, another legendary land. Tap it to add 1 to your mana pool. 3 mana and tap. Sacrifice a creature as well to gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness.
Oh, that just puts me now into 2 other lands I want to add.
Hey, go for it.
Castle Lochthwain. So it comes in untapped if you control a swamp, taps to add black, or 1 black, draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. And then,
Okay.
and then I think the other one I want is War Room.
Yeah.
War Room
Let's
is
go ahead
another
and do.
land, tap for colorless, 3 and tap, pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity, so 2, and draw a card.
Yeah, I quite like it. I think they both have some synergies here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm sure you could put other things in there, like, I think it's High Market.
Yeah, but that only gets you 1 life.
What's the other one? I'm sure
What?
there's
Sacrifice a creature?
Yeah, and you gain life equal to its tough. I'm sure there's one like that.
Oh, I was only familiar with Mirren here. So we only have a reanimate for reanimating. Okay. What do you feel about instead of Arguel's Bloodfast? I think we have Necropotence in, and I think it just does it better.
Yeah, I like that.
So let's get rid of Arguel's Bloodfast. And
We only need to cut 2.
yeah.
There's so many good things in here, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, my brain also just went to a Rishkar's expertise as well, which I don't know if we need in here. Because we're making a big giant creature, we're drawing 20 cards and then just dropping something that's 5 CMC or less,
Yeah.
which I'm looking at the CMC. It seems great. Just don't know if it goes in and what to cut for it. So
Is hardened scales good enough?
I don't think so.
That's what I was thinking.
I would rather do the twice as many from branching and doubling season. So I think I like those better personally.
Yeah.
That's also the whole reason Corpse Jack Menace is in as well. So let's go for twice.
Okay,
Go
so
big or go home.
exactly. And then we're just
Hmm.
down to one.
Yeah. So what one card do you not like? And ooh.
One card that I
So
find a bit odd.
yeah, I also I also think there's a space here for a Whip of Erebos, but I'm trying to find the cut for it. I think it's sort of the Animist for me. I think Whip of Erebos does more because it gives
Lifelink.
all of our creatures lifelink, which is the important part, but it also has a reanimate ability on it for 2 black and black, and tapping the whip to return a target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If
Okay.
it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Now, you can activate this ability only time you can cast a sorcery. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning of the next end step, it exiles. But if we sacrifice it, it just goes to the graveyard and that delay trigger goes away, correct?
I think so, yeah.
So we do have a lot of sacrifice outlets. So such as Plumb the Forgotten, and we have a couple of creatures that also lets us sacrifice things. So I think that's good enough for me to call that a good reanimation ability.
Fair. Ashen has pointed the land that I was going on about. However, it's
Ah,
$1,000 because it's on the reserve list, which was Diamond Valley. Tap to
yeah,
sacrifice one of your creatures in exchange for a number of life points. So, sack a creature you control, gain life equal to its toughness. Um,
got it.
but
And the flip side of Argwells does the Mirren effect. Yep,
yeah,
cool. Okay.
okay. So we still need to cut one more card. There is a card that I'm looking at that feels a little bit out of place.
Sure. What you got?
It's the Chalice of Life.
Okay.
As much as it does do work, I feel that we're not going to be utilizing it as much. I personally don't like. I wouldn't be happy in my opening hand seeing it. I would much rather have a veto, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. I'm also, yeah, go ahead and put that in the maybe board right now. I'm just checking our CM, our mana value and what
Mana
we're
value,
looking
yeah,
like
that's
right
something
now.
to get used
I'm
to.
I'm trying, believe me. So, I mean, yeah, especially the fact that we have so many contenders. We have almost we have 19 cards in that 3 CMC range.
Yeah,
So I think the other 18 cards at 3 CMC are vying for that specific slot. So I think that that's a decent cut as far as the 3 CMCs.
yeah, I'm quite happy with that being a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we have 100 right there as it stands. Chat, anything that you guys wanted to add slash have us consider or reconsider, anything like that?
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to call it here personally.
This one seemed to be more
Uh,
focused this week. It's almost like we had some kind of universal goal, Han, without just going mental with suggestions.
oh, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know
I
exactly
can
what I
still
mean.
add more cards. I can still add more cards if you really want me to.
So can I, but you didn't like where I was going with the amount of life I was paying for things.
Mm, I think we're just doing it efficiently at this point. That's the only
Like,
reason. Ashen says
Phyrex.
swap Poltergeist for Bloodfast. The Mischievous Poltergeist, the flying 1/1 that pay 1 life and you get to regenerate it.
Bu- 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 bu.
For Argwell's Bloodfast.
I suppose, yeah. That would work. We can still then blow
I'm
up
okay.
stuff. Yeah, if we lose enough life, we can then flip it. It's card draw. Yeah, I suppose. I can see the argument for that one.
Sorry, you cut out for me for a second. What was that?
I can see the argument for having Argyl's Bloodfast in for the card draw.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good with it. I was going to suggest a Rishkar's expertise for card draw. Because we also had the Necropotence ad nauseum, technically.
Yeah.
And Bullets the Citadel for kind of getting through our cards off the top.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can go ahead and substitute out the Poltergeist for that. I'm okay with that.
I've already done it. Way ahead of you.
Yep. And looking at this, do we have... Well, we don't have an Assassin's Trophy, but we have the Immortality Spear. I think that's fine.
We have Death Sprout. We have Mortality Spear. We have Toxic Deluge. Rite of Consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few removals in here. We've also got our creatures that can put minus counters on things. Like Villis, the Broker of Blood. We have other ways of killing things. Fonts of Agonies, destroy a creature.
Yeah, I think I'm good calling it here. It seems like a solid deck. Oh, I see that we still have the Walking Ballista in here. I mean, we could keep one. We can keep the Ballista in.
I like the Walking Ballista personally.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Let's keep that in, and yeah, let's just run with this. I'm okay.
Yeah, you happy to call it that?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I like it.
So,
I think most of the...
Other than putting in the dual lands to match everything up, like your shock lands and things, there's another way of paying life. I think everything's fine. 3.36 in the CMC, or mana value. Let's do a quick play test and see how it looks. Opening hand looks pretty nice. We got 3 lands, got a removal, got Inscription Abundance, Forgotten Ancient, and the Dragon. And let's have a look at the next 5 cards. Vorinclex, Gary, Blood Celebrant, Land. I think that's pretty good.
That's a winner right there. Yeah, let's go with this. I think it's fine. My own playtest is quite good as well, so
nice.
Yeah, seems to be consistent.
Okay. Well, I had fun with that one today.
Yeah. +1/+1 counters. Lose some life, gain some life, swing it away. I like it.
Cool. All right then. Well, I think then if that's where you are happy to call it.
Yeah, I'm good.
That'll be all for now then. So if you want to see more, visit our hub into the 99.com for more articles, videos, podcasts, plus the link to our Discord community where you can chat to us, suggest texts, arrange games, or even new Brewing It lives for the future. If you wish to support us in a more financial way, please see our merch store for great t-shirts. The link should be down below. But otherwise, that's all from me. And that's all from Han.
Yeah, that was a fun deck.
That was a good one.
Willowdusk is doing some work, and it has synergies with that Elder Dragon. Yeah, I like it a lot. And get to play with a little bit of both.
The fact that it counts for life gain and life lost, I think that's something people were missing. I have seen so many people trying to build it as a life gain deck, and I'm like, pay life.
Yeah, no. My first thought initially was just Crick. So yep,
Yeah.
let's call it there.
But otherwise, thank you all for joining us. Have a good one, and we'll catch you same time next week. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye.
Love you.